I'm Danae. I've got my house all decorated for Christmas and all my Christmas quilts are out and being used. Whether it's to watch a movie, read a book, admire the Christmas tree, or to sleep at night, there's something so magical about snuggling up under a quilt this time of year. And today I'm super excited to share my favorite Christmas quilts with you. First up is this beautiful vintage holiday pattern by Thimble Blossoms, which also happens to be the very first quilt I ever made. When I was a new quilter, my comfort zone was duplicating quilts just like they were on their pattern cover page. Swapping fabrics or even making my own curated pool wasn't something that even seemed like an option to me at the time. So this quilt is the closest duplicate of Camille's I could make using mostly vintage modern fabrics. This quilt was very much a team effort, led by my friends Natalie and Alicia, who held my hand through every step of the process. I backed this quilt in gray gingham from Bonnie and Camille's April Showers line and had it quilted in my very favorite straight lines, 1/2 inch apart. This pattern is Lottie by Penelope Handmade, made with Maureen Cracknell's Cozy and Magical line by Art Gallery Fabrics, and also some solids and some coordinating blenders. I'm one who likes to work on Christmas quilts during the holiday season, which means they most likely won't be done and ready until the following Christmas. And that's exactly the case with this quilt. I backed this one in flannel from the same Cozy and Magical line and had it quilted using crystal ball pantograph and used my very favorite Quilter's Dream wool batting, which is super soft and makes the quilting really pop. I love this quilt and how subtly Christmassy it is. This was my second time making this gather pattern by Suzy Quilts. The first one I made just might be my favorite quilt of all time, and I already have plans to make a third. I used all Art Gallery fabrics, which are my absolute favorite to sew with. I picked 3 prints from Maureen Cracknell's Cozy and Joyful line, and then I chose Art Gallery solids that coordinated with the prints I chose. I'm really loving this blue-green, pink-gold combination in a Christmas quilt right now. I used this incredible Christmas scene from the line for the backing and had it quilted in orange leaf dark panto. Again, I used my go-to wool batting. Last year, I set a goal to have a Christmas quilt on every bed, and so this one I made a twin size is getting a binding and heading straight upstairs. Iris is another pattern by Penelope Handmade, and again I used Maureen Cracknell fabric. This one is Cozy and Joyful. I absolutely loved making this quilt. It goes together incredibly fast, but it doesn't have the look of an easy quilt. Although I will say that having directional fabric did slow me down a little bit because it took some extra thought. I think it was worth it in the end though, but if you are wanting something super fast and easy, stick to non-directional fabric. I backed this in green gingham from the line and added a few extra rows that I had left over from the front side of the quilt for length on the bottom, as this one is also a twin sized. Again, I used wool batting and I had it quilted in a chunky knit pantograph. I made this Grinch quilt several years ago using a panel from Robert Kaufman Fabric and Bonnie and Camille's Vintage Holiday Collection. I didn't use a pattern for this one, I just made each block 12.5 inches square and then added this red gingham border in between 2 white borders. It's backed in red flannel snowflakes from the Vintage Holiday line and quilted in a snowflake pantograph. This Grinch quilt has been a West family favorite for years. This Patchwork Forest pattern is by Amy Smart. A few years ago, my quilt group picked this pattern for a quilt block exchange. We decided on traditional red and green for the swap, and then I picked some extra teal to add to mine. I love how it turned out and that I have so many blocks from friends. I can tell what year I made a lot of these quilts by the mini border that I was obsessed with. I backed this in a flannel and straight line quilted it myself. The last quilt I have for today is this Dwell pattern, which can be found in Camille Roskelley's book, Simply Retro. I use mostly holiday vintage fabric and patterns from Burlap Blossoms, Sherry Falls, and Lori Holt's Farm Girl Vintage for the inner blocks. It's backed in tiny red dot flannel and quilted in a clamshell panto. This is my go-to to grab whenever it's Christmas movie time because it's so cuddly and nice and broken in. Christmas quilts are what made me want to learn how to quilt in the first place, and I just fell in love with quilting from there. I can't watch a Christmas movie without searching for a quilt in the background, and I almost always find one. So make this Christmas season extra special by spending some quality time snuggled up under a quilt. And if you haven't already, definitely try Quilter's Dream Wool Batting. You won't be disappointed. Leave me a comment below and let me know your favorite way to use quilts this time of year. And be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more tips, tricks, tutorials, and trunk shows like these. See y'all next time!